Guys, today we're reviewing the BarBend Kinesiology Tape, otherwise known as the BarBend Muscle Tape. I'm going to point out a couple characteristics that are pros and then cons about this tape itself. First pro is the way this tape is actually woven. It has a two-way stretch weave, which is made to follow the way the muscle works in the skin and actually move in a two-way fashion, as opposed to a single adhesive or tape that just has the straight adhesive on it that's meant to just pull the muscle in one direction. That can be somewhat limiting, and also it doesn't move realistically with the muscle in the body itself. So as you can see, this tape actually stretches out and the weaving actually stretches in both directions. So a little bit taller, a little bit longer, definitely stretches a little less when you pull it in width, but it definitely offers a good amount of stretch when you're pulling it for length on the body. Something else I liked about this tape was the way it actually supported the muscle. So this is the way I like to tape my shoulder for support. Other physical therapists and coaches and athletes will have different methods of taping the shoulder. This is what I prefer, and this is what helps me when I actually work out. So to give you guys an idea, this tape pulls the muscle up and provides some support while not also limiting mobility. There's never an issue with how I'm moving. Also, it doesn't limit the way the muscle actually functions. So some tapes can actually really be tight on the muscle or even confine you. This is good for providing some support, but then enough mobility to actually move and go about your activity of choice. I also like that when you apply the tape, this is a heat adhesive, so when you rub it and heat it up, it actually sticks a little bit better. So some tapes that are single adhesive or just typical athletic tape doesn't actually offer this. So I thought that was a really cool point, especially for those who are going to be in sweaty conditions who need a tape to really stick. You can really heat it up and even blow dry it on to make it stay. And actually this tape, if you really heat it up perfectly, can stay on the body for 4 days, and that's totally dependent on what you need it for and how long you need it. And a couple issues that I did find with this tape was that if you don't apply the right amount of pressure or the heat when applying it, it definitely can come off really easily. So that's something to be really worried about, or not worried about, but definitely aware of before actually applying the tape, is the way you're actually applying it. You might need somebody to help you to actually help heat it up, especially if it's on areas like this that you can't necessarily reach. That'll limit the whole tape coming off in the shirt, tape coming off during a movement, and then you lacking the support you need. Also, something I noticed was that I found when you try to pull it wide and long, it can become a little bit stretched and actually not stick to the body as much. So it's really important you understand which way the muscle is actually moving on the body or going to move, and for that matter, how it actually fits on the body. So you can see here that this actually follows my deltoid in a little bit more of a realistic fashion as opposed to just coming up. So that's something to also keep in mind when using this tape. It's that its function is totally dependent on how you're actually applying it and using it on the body, not so much just where you're going to stick it and lay it down. To wrap up my review of this tape, there were definitely a couple pros, definitely a couple cons to keep in mind. The application of this tape is totally dependent on what you need it for and how much you're actually looking to get out of it. But all in all, I thought this was a pretty solid kinesiology tape.